There are tons of developers within the video game industry who cannot fathom the idea that they've simply created a bad product that people don't want to buy, and instead of taking responsibility, they decide to call us gamers ists and phobes for not supporting their trash. And now the creative director of Tales of Kenzara ZAU, which is a Sweet Baby Inc. affiliated game, has issued a statement addressing the, quote, constant targeted harassment both he and his studio have faced. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, of course, we have seen tons of SBI-affiliated games release over the past 8 or so months that have gone on to be absolute failures, and you would think that these devs would understand we are in the midst of Gamergate 2, and the reason why Gamergate 2 started was because of Sweet Baby Inc. and narrative consultation companies that are very similar. So if they are working with a company like this, they should expect some form of backlash. And obviously, when you are a new studio creating a new IP, there's a likely chance you're going to face struggles when it comes to marketing the game, selling the game, promoting it, things like that. But instead of just, manning up and saying, hey, we faced some backlash, it just wasn't a game a lot of people wanted, he's taken this personally. Now, of course, Tales of Kenzara ZAU, this director, he had initially said that it was basically a tribute to his father, which is very nice to hear. I'm glad that he felt passionate enough to make a game that is dedicated to his father, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to sell. And now he's, of course, decided to go on this rant about racism. It says Salim, the founder of Surgent Studios and the creative director, issued a strong statement addressing harassment both he and his studio have faced since the release of the game. In a 5-minute video posted to X/Twitter, he opens up by saying he didn't want to address the harassment and that he's dealt with the assertions that he didn't deserve the opportunities he got from the beginning of his career, saying, no, it was simply because I'm black and I've turned my other cheek and just kept doing my thing. But he's decided no more. He's not going to stay quiet now. Of course, when I talk about situations like this, more often than not, we have absolutely no proof that they were being harassed or targeted and things like that, and he doesn't provide that at all within this statement because, of course, it's him basically just recording on his phone. He goes on to say, though, that he can brush off some of the comments, but when there's a constant barrage of them, it's exhausting. He also says, don't get me wrong, there's been so much amazing and beautiful support for the game. The fact that it's inspired so many people and touched, so many lives. It was one of our goals from the outset to have this positive impact. And I'm glad that this game has had a positive impact on some people, but of course, there are also going to be individuals who don't want to play it, who aren't impressed with it, and who are not going to praise it. That's just how entertainment works. People interpret things differently. People get different experiences out of video games, movies, TV shows, what have you. And at the end of the day, not everybody has to say something extremely positive. And that is the world that we are living in, that if you're not with them, you are against them. That is how people like this act time and time again. And he's pulling the classic criticism is harassment card. When you're working with Sweet Baby Inc., a narrative consultation company loathed by millions of gamers, you're going to face criticism for that, and then you're going to face criticism for your actual product, and at the end of the day, it was just an okay story with mediocre gameplay and lackluster visuals. It just wasn't some fantastic game. The game is out. Anyone can go and purchase it. This is why we see so many individuals co-opting already existing franchises, because people will will pay more attention to it. And yes, there are games that release by indie developers that do amazing, like Hellblade 1, Hollow Knight, Hades, things like that. But even the director said that he made this game for himself. And when you pair that attitude with SBI involvement plus only an okay video game, plus there are only 2 primary trailers that showed mediocre gameplay and not necessarily long story segments, it just all painted a very bad picture for the game. Am I a racist for saying this simply because he happens to be a black man? No, but of course he may interpret it that way and say, oh, you know what, you're all being racist for criticizing me and my game. And that is the mentality these people have now. They are victims. That is all they care about, is painting themselves as the winners or the victims, and it's pathetic. He also said we are being faced with constant targeted harassment from people who see diversity as a threat. I don't see diversity as a threat. Most of you guys don't see diversity as a threat. Most content creators in this general sphere of gaming and entertainment related commentary do not see diversity as a threat. Real natural diversity is a good thing. The problem is when it's forced by companies in order to, check off different boxes. We see that in Hollywood, we see that in the video game industry. There's diversity quotas. That is what people are not happy with. And of course, again, diversity is a very good thing. The best person for the job should get hired for the job regardless of their gender or their race or their sexuality, things like that. But that's just not how the industry is being ran right now. We are seeing people get hired simply because they're, women or people of color. And unfortunately, that has led to, less talented people getting higher positions at companies, and the amazing, passionate developers be, in some cases pushed to the side. They're not working at large companies and on large products because they don't fit the bill. And then we just end up with worse products at the end of the day. And because he decided to say all of this, he has been getting harshly criticized on social media for it. I know I personally had put up a post. Lots of people are commenting things like playing the victim doesn't work anymore. Never forget, they never cared for the game or its creators. They only talk but never act. Yeah, there are tons of people who have been, promoting this game, saying it's amazing, and you anti-woke people do nothing but try to make people as miserable as you can, but it doesn't seem like they showed up to actually purchase this title. This is nothing more than attention farming. People were not attacking this game. In fact, I saw some commenting things like, good, they are doing something original rather than remake. Similar remarks abounded. But many knew from watching presentations it was meh, and I do totally and completely agree. I do think that they tried to heavily promote this game, and it just did not work out for them. And instead of addressing that, they're simply saying, oh, everybody who's criticizing it is harassing us. And that's just not a very good way to view a title like this and a launch like this. And of course, they it doesn't look like are in a very good position at this point. It does appear that this game has been a pretty big financial failure for them, given this kind of rant that the director had gone on, and the game has been pretty consistently on sale. So I will be keeping my eye on the situation, and I wonder if this director will actually come out and make a new statement now that people are talking about his, initial video that he made, and say we're being harassed even more. It wouldn't really surprise me, but at the end of the day, they're just playing a victim card, and they simply made a pretty bad product, and they don't actually want to take accountability for that. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.